Once Iran begins, you cannot walk out because you will lose the Middle East. And you cannot win unless you start committing horrendous stuff like throwing nukes at cities. You cannot get a viable result like a concerted stalemate. Technically, you can negotiate hard, yes, but for that one, you need a team of good negotiators that can still be found. But what cannot be found is a team that can negotiate without the Jews, because it's them that are doing this. You cannot do this without the Jews doing everything to destroy negotiations, because the entire game for Israel is not to just vanquish Iran, it's to destroy it as hard as possible by turning it into a new Vietnam where the American army will be stuck there for 10 years, which of course the US does not want to do, does not have the means to do, and the Jews are completely insane, but that's another subject. Okay, it's in French, but I made a video, a very long video about Israel on the French channel. I genuinely think that Israel is gone. It's lost. I don't see them reforming, and I don't see things getting fixed in any sizable way. Israel is finished. It will take a few years, yes, perhaps 10 years, but I don't think it will survive. I think it will completely disappear as a polity. I don't know where the Jews will go. I imagine they will split into however many groups, but I do not imagine it surviving. I cannot see this happen. So you have these elements to consider, and as long as Israel is not destroyed, things will keep going as they are, and they can only go in one direction or the other. The direction is total capitulation, which, of course, the Americans will do everything to prevent that, or constant aggression. And that's why I expected Trump, when he signed this armistice thing with Iran, this ceasefire, I expected him to just make a fake ceasefire and start 2 weeks after. Instead, he made a fake ceasefire, and 3 months later, he's still hesitating. Again and again, this gives the impression that the only way to get rid of American aggression is just to fight back, because that's the only thing that works. They don't like taking hits. And everything Trump has done has vindicated the Chinese in fighting back, vindicated the Iranians, and soon enough, when he will stop holding back, I expect it will vindicate the Russians. Just so we're clear, the only way out, which is still sadly very possible, is to force the Europeans, who have a very different mindset, into a direct conflict with Russia to change the game. But I also suspect that this will break things in so many other ways as well, because again, financially, economically, everything is unbelievably tense. I don't see a way in which you can stretch that balloon any further. It's at breaking point. And everything Trump does to kind of, put control on the world again, everything just just aggravates things. So if my original prediction was 10 years, because I expected a very slow downfall, and the tariffs took it down to 5, Iran, frankly, took it down to 2. Because what are you going to have now? One, you're going to have the AI bubble, housing bubble, car market bubble, the used car market bubble. All of this is going to burst within 2 years. All of this is going to bring catastrophic failures to the financial sector. Normally, you would get the vassals, the servants, to pay up for this. They won't be able to because 1, the sums demanded will be insanely high, and 2, they're already in bad situations, and 3, you've kept insulting them all this time. I don't think you can just undo that. You can't undo openly treating them like dogs. Is basically taking all of the problems of the US and accelerating them into a massive explosion that will come all together, which is very good. We want acceleration. Slow death is the thing that will kill us for good. A fast burst, a true explosion, is what will lead to a renewed sense of life, sense of survival. It will trigger survival instinct, which will have, of course, dire and horrifying consequences. People will blame one another. You can be sure that the Jews will be blamed for everything, and I've always tried to be mild on the Jews because I always felt like they took way more than they deserved. But just so we're clear, Iran is basically a 99% Jewish affair, and it is the worst mistake of them all. Had Trump not started conflicts about Greenland, had there not been the tariffs, probably they could have scrounged up some kind of a coalition and went together against Iran, and things would have gotten a lot less poorly. But even though you can blame Trump for a good amount of the ways in which this was horrendously executed, the reality is Iran is the worst mistake. The worst mistake is always going to be the one that stands out, naturally, and the Jews are completely behind it. I said in the book that the objectives of Israel and the US are splitting fast. Today, the Jews have an unthinkable amount of power in the US. I expect that the downfall will be very brutal. I'm talking a matter of months. I genuinely am seeing CIA people all over the place throwing the Jews under the bus and basically saying, it's Israel, it's all Israel, man. This does not bode well. This smells like a last, I don't have a good metaphor, but something like somebody at the edge of a cliff about to fall and like gripping as hard as they can just before eventually they falter and fall down. This is exactly how I see Israel and the Jewish lobby in the US right now. I cannot help but visualize them as people who think that, don't worry, we got this, even as the ground is just shaking and is going to open up beneath their feet. Things are going to end extremely badly for the Jews because almost all of the problems that will come when the strategic petroleum reserve starts failing between, depending which countries it will be different, but between, say, late July, early autumn, so mid-September, give or take, almost everybody should be out. By the time these will come out, there will be a reckoning, a financial reckoning, an economic reckoning. Just everything is going to fall apart. And, if everything falls apart, you got a crisis. But if everything falls apart when you have terrifying financial problems, then you're going to have a true just series of financial earthquakes. The petroleum crisis will be an energy crisis. It will be a price crisis. It will be an investment crisis. It will trigger the explosion of the used car market, the housing market. The AI bubble is eventually going to burst because in attacking Iran, the oil sellers that used to make a lot of money and reinvest it in AI, so Qatar, UAE, Saudis, etc., they're going to walk away with their money. But the oil buyers, like, say, Japan, that basically invests almost all of its money into the US since the 90s. One of the biggest mistakes in the book is I did not know about the yen carry trade until after I finished writing it, so terrible mistake on my part. But the yen carry trade will explode. The Gulf investments in AI will explode. Everything's going to explode with incredible force between probably this fall. I think it'll still be fine, but most likely next year, 2027. Yeah, no, 2026. We're already in 2026. In 2027, I really expect that we will see just explosion after explosion after explosion everywhere. We're going to see unthinkable amounts of spin before it's obvious that it's over. I don't know how long they can spin it. Probably all the way to next summer is still kind of doable. But I really don't see this lasting until 2028. This is the end. Next year is going to be the massive explosion financially. And again, 10 years became 5 and then 3. I really think that by 2028, it will be so obvious that the American empire is bleeding out from a giant hole in its heart, from the dollar, that people will start running for the exit, and the exit will be China. The exit will not be Europe. Europe is down for the count. We are a destroyed continent. It will be China. It will be China. And people may not like the Chinese. They may not trust the Chinese. They may hate the Chinese. It doesn't fucking matter. It will be China anyway, because when the storm is so bad that the entire sea looks like a giant maelstrom of death, any castle, any port that looks like it can provide shelter is good enough. Even if it was freaking Castle Grayskull from He-Man, even if it was like giant, Dr. Evil lair, giant, frightening human skull at the entrance, they're gonna go, it's the pits of death, it's the sea of death, or it's this. This looks like we may have a chance of surviving. These seas we will not survive. You will see people massively move to the new sort of Hong Kong that they're preparing on Hainan Island. You will see massive amounts of people leaving for China by 2028. It will start, if it hasn't already started in 2027. So yeah, those are essentially my predictions are completely wrong, I guess. Also, because this is important, I didn't predict, and I don't think anybody in the world could predict, because we literally have no idea what sets it on, but I did not predict the senility. It is incredibly obvious that Trump is slowing down, that he's getting mentally weaker, intellectually weaker, his speech is slow, his actions are slow, everything is slow and weak. He's just a weak old man. I could not predict that, no one in the world could, but because I didn't predict it, this adds another layer of incompetence and another layer of febrility. He will be hyperactive, yet too weak to sustain his actions, as in, he'll try to be the big man, but be too weak to do it, and because he knows he's too weak to do it, he's going to try and be even more aggressive, even more violent, and this can only end very badly as well. This is also why I believe it will end up with a nuke in Iran, because his Jewish friends will definitely be coaxing him into it. And as he increasingly feels unable to face the problems of the Middle East and of Iran itself, as he increasingly fails to be able to deal with the problems, I really suspect that he'll end up convinced. That's a very likely story. Senile old man ends up using a nuke because he's being told by poisonous advisors that this is the way. Yeah, that's sadly, you could have the Jews be Grima Wormtongue and him be very, very aged Theoden. It's a complete possibility at this point. Maybe not tomorrow, but between now and the midterms, not impossible. Not impossible that alongside, because this is how the perfect storm is going to go, let's imagine that it's at the latest, let's say it's beginning of October. Beginning of October, it's impossible to hide the damage from the Iran war. The strategic reserves are empty. Oil goes ballistic. Oil goes to something like $10 a gallon in one parts of America, and it goes to 2.5 euros, 2.6 in Europe for a liter. You have that kind of situation right before the midterms. Having a bunch of poisonous advisors whisper to Trump that the only way to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat in the midterms and his impeachment and destruction by the Democrats, him being sent to jail and stuff like that, the only way is to nuke Iran. I'm sorry, but that's a likely possibility. Now, I already predicted, again on the French channel, that he would nuke Iran, and I was wrong, because he pussied out completely. Hopefully he keeps pussying out. Hopefully I'm wrong, but the possibility exists.